Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to Honcast here, Hon Tours Season 4 playoff action coming at you on what is the final weekend here of the wild card of our regular season and now the playoffs. This is it. After this weekend, we will know which team is joining Sync Esports going to Thailand to compete at the World Finals in the mid part of June 18th and 19th to be exact. So obviously a lot is on the line here. We are really excited to be here. We finally made it to this point. The top 4 teams going at it, and let's be honest, we got really the 4 expected teams in these playoffs here are competing. Whether or not we expected them to be in these certain positions, up for debate. But it is these 4 teams, as in this matchup, we got our losers bracket matchup to kick it off first of what is Complexity Gaming versus Bad Monkey Gaming. So these 2 teams, this could be it for one of these teams. You lose here, you are done. No more chances. You win here, you simply stay alive, and you have to keep grinding into tomorrow. But obviously, again, so much on the line. Really, really excited and really looking forward to some good Han. Joining me today here as a co-caster, it's been a while actually, but happy to have him back. I'm joined by Snooey. How's it going, man?
Oh man, it's I'm so incredibly nervous in before this series. I can't even describe
You're
it.
not
Like,
even
I'm
a
sitting
player.
here. I know. That just tells you really what's the player has to be going through right now. Like, if I'm sitting here in front of my screen, not even playing the draft, or I mean, the game hasn't even started. The draft is only going, but still, and I'm literally having a shield down my spine already. So, the players, yeah, they have to be excited. This has to be so much adrenaline going around right now for them.
It really does. I mean, it's one thing to have a tournament with, again, so much on the line. I mean, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for a lot of these guys. I mean, technically, yes, we are dealing with BMG, who they're playing for a second time here, for some of these players at least. Obviously, they are the defending champions here of Han Tour Season 3. But on the other side, you got a team in Complexity. You know, this is a team that was so hyped throughout this whole season, really, and for good reason. I mean, especially in the earlier parts, they were obviously looking pretty dominant. They were the team to beat. Kind of toned down as the season picked up, and in the later part, obviously they did slow down at least a little bit. Still one of the favorites going into this event, but again, on the verge now of not possibly moving on. So I'm with you. I can't even imagine what kind of emotions are going through these players right now, but in the end, you got to focus, you got to take care of business, and that's what it comes down to. So let's start getting into this actual game now that we have here that we planted to talk about throughout the day on this weekend, of course, but well, the first thing off the bat we got to notice here, Insania drafting for BMG. They actually did a little bit of a swap at the last second, and Insania is the drafter. So that right off the bat is like, okay, that kind of came out of nowhere, it feels like. But, well, what do you think?
It's so hard to tell without actually being in their Skype call, actually being part of their communication. But I assume that it's just about BMG figuring out that they needed to make a change if they actually wanted to qualify to Thailand. Like, they are in the loser brackets. They were relatively close to losing, not the series, but dropping a game to Polymorph last weekend. So that probably triggered something in them, and they were like, just, we need to wake up, we need to make a change, we need to make, something happen if we actually want to beat Complexity Gaming here today. So I think that's the reason behind it. I mean, Insania has always been one of those guys that's very into the tactical, strategical kind of thinking as well. So he's probably done a lot of research in before this series, so I'm not too surprised actually seeing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, actually. The little bit of scrimmaging I did happen to watch, I actually did notice that Insania was drafting for that. I was kind of wondering if that was going to lead into this weekend, and sure enough, it has. So, yeah, a little bit of a switch up here. But, you know, frankly, this has been a team in BMG that they've been through a lot of motion this season, you know, from some roster changes to start it off to roster changes all throughout, especially with their jungle position. That in itself, of course, new for this team. Last season, they were notorious for not even running a jungler for most of it, really all of it. So, definitely have been through some changes. So why not add one more going in to this final weekend right here, I guess. But okay, as far as the specific draft goes, let's start breaking down what we actually see here. We got Magnus, Andromeda, Doctor, and Devour for BMG.
Screams offensive tri-lane for me.
Okay.
Like, something has to be happening at least. I mean, just seeing Devour in this kind of like a game with this kind of magnitude is, to me, incredibly surprising. Like, it's a hero that's like ultimately deciding on your skill factor. Like, it doesn't necessarily, like, if you fail the laning phase, Devour is going to taper off. So they are kind of doing a kind of an all-in here versus Complexity Gaming that we already see have that Mage Bane. Like, he is going to outcarry that Dr. Repulsor with his ultimate. Like, that's a very deadly counter. So BMG, they are definitely going to aim for shutting down that Mage Bane throughout the early stages of the game, probably with Magnus, Andromeda, and potentially the Valk. That's, yeah, one of Mac's signature heroes, and we did see it a lot of last weekend as well. So, yeah, there we go. So there's going to be a lot of invis here, a lot of dust, a lot of smoking around, and a lot of gank, just a lot of pressure on general. But, like, Complexity already got a very solid ground to stand on, I feel, to counter this kind of aggression from BMG. I mean, Rhapsody, one of the most physically durable support heroes in the game. Like, he's so good at trading out attacks, he's so tanky throughout the early stages, and they got Ophelia as well. So it's going to come down to a lot if BMG can actually ward up the Complexity Forest, I feel. If they can get that kind of advantage and take territory, then perhaps they got a chance here. But if Complexity can successfully shut them off from their side of the forest and just keep BMG on their side, you know, then I think the Complexity Gaming's got the late game to say for sure.
How about that? A Midas final pick. Not often Complexity especially is able to get their hands on that, but Fuzzy Sloth, sure enough, going to get his hands on Midas here with that final pick. So,
all right. Well, I personally like it. I prefer seeing Fuzzy Sloth on these kind of, you know, playmaker heroes. He's a very vocal player. Like, he's the one who takes initiations in the actual game. So it's good that he can lead the team in a similar role to how Mikke, you know, plays for Sync Esports, you know, always being on, you know, Pebbles, those kind of gank situational heroes. So I like this coming out from Complexity Gaming. I feel like both teams got a very solid ground. I mean, both of them got some very comfortable heroes to play with.
No, that's the first thing that I noticed as well. It's comfortable heroes, comfortable strategy. I mean, you look at these two teams, this is what they're really known about when it comes to their strategy. I mean, you got BMG over here. Obviously, this is as again on paper, it screams this really aggressive style of play. A team that loves to use Veiled Rot constantly. Expect that. Valkyrie Prism, aggressive play from it. Then on the other side, Complexity, of course, has that notorious history of being more the turtle, let's go to the late game phase and take over the game then. So, yeah, it's no surprise here in the end to see that. You know, both teams really going to their comfort factor. And, again, the only difference is what we've already talked about is the fact that Insignia did the draft here. But I got to say, if Houston was drafting, very possibly could have been the same draft here, honestly, for BMG. So, this first game at least, maybe not necessarily having an enormous impact here. But, again, still interesting nonetheless here. So, again, I can't believe we're finally kicking this off, man. It's, you know, this wait that we had. The regular season ended, and it was like, and we found out that we were going to have to wait a couple months even before the playoffs, and it's just like, oh, that kind of sucks. But, you know, we did. We had the Deadeye Bounty League, which was great. You know, some nice intermediate content and, you know, some play time for the teams and everything. But then we finally got these playoffs kicked off, and it truly has been as great as we hoped for. Even though it's turned out, as far as results go, again, these are the 4 teams that we expected, we still had great matches to get to this point. I mean, there's memorable matches like Team Druids nearly upset Fresh in the first round of this tournament. Very possibly could have. We've had one of the longest games in recorded history. We've had one of the closest base races in recorded history in Han. I mean, these really have been some epic playoffs, Nui.
And that is without the flying corner and the puzzle box factor.
That's true.
We got to take that into consideration as well.
So
it's still possible, even after the change.
Oh, man.
I like it. I mean, Druids is really or not Druids, Fresh. I mean, they're really the one team that stands out here. Coming into this event, as we were talking about in the draft, or as you were mentioning, I mean, Complexity Gaming, their community, they probably favored them, seeing as they were the runner-ups after Sync Esports. But now, it's safe to say that all 4 teams, they stand on equal grounds. Like, there's no saying who's actually going to win. I mean, Evil Corporation might have a slight edge. I mean, they are back on track. They're actually practicing. They are, like, incredibly determined to actually make it to Thailand, and they haven't yet to drop a single game. So maybe a slight edge to Evil Corporation. But apart from that, like, it's dead even. There's no telling who's going to win that, and that just makes these games incredibly exciting for us spectators.
I'm really trying to think back, and I don't have the greatest memory, to be honest. I'll be the first to admit, but I mean, just really thinking back at tournaments that we've had. Obviously, there's been so many. You know, doing this for 6+ years now. There's been so many over time. I really can't recall, you know, 4 teams going into this portion of an event, and again, the uncertainty's there. I mean, usually in the back of your mind, it's like, okay, we expect this. That's probably going to happen. But again, we do not expect that. It sounds like you agree, and I really think it's hard to argue that case with what we have here. So, yeah, it really just comes back to, I mean, we're hyped, and we do, as we do for any tournament, really, you know, going into the final portion of it. But I think this one especially really deserves deserves that. Is a
Yeah,
safe,
here we go as
say.
well.
Here we go, baby. Game number 1 officially kicking off for the weekend here. And for this all-important series, again, this is a loser's bracket matchup. You lose this best of 3, you are done. You win, you simply stay alive into tomorrow for a long grind. I mean, because remember, you're in the loser's bracket. The best case scenario is you make it to the grand finals. You're down 1-0 in that best of 5 series. So now that's later on. I know it's one step at a time, but that is ahead here for these two teams at least. So
yeah, we can see BMG already moving over as well. They want to get the camp sorted up, but it seems like Complexity is not interested in trading or defending at all. They're just going to simply, wait in base more or less, safely stand behind their towers, just letting BMG do their thing. And something that I'm noticing here right away is that Insania is actually having Marchers level 1.
Huh.
So that's kind of an all-in as well. I'm not entirely sure if he's just going to try to rotate between mid and top. It seems to be the case, but a Magnus stun into a Devour hook, like that's not necessarily going to grant a kill in the early levels, especially not versus the Midas. So that's going to require Andromeda to be part of that kind of kill attempt as well. And seeing as Andromeda doesn't have the Marchers, I find it a little bit questionable. Obviously, it's great that they're trying to get map control, but I'm not sure if it's the right choice. There is, though, an observatory very close by, so even if you were to use all that mana, there is still mana pots to gain.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting though, definitely. Go on the boots first. Again, Insania playing that roaming, essentially, Magnus here to start. Also very curious about that. But again, with the idea of manning up and going aggressive here, definitely has some sense to it. So Valkyrie, of course, headed towards the top. You do have Andromeda right now sitting at the middle part. It looks like almost as if he's waiting to see. Exactly.
Yeah, that warp side, by the way, from Lob is questionable. I don't think that's the right placement entirely. I mean, Magnus is going to freely be able to, I mean, if he gets to the point where he's up, or like if he's standing on top of that cliff, like it's already too late. I mean, Rhapsody is going to be such an easy target. We talked about Midas, how he can easily escape, but Rhapsody doesn't have the same luxury. And he's going to run into Magnus right now. I think this is the first part.
This could be a bloodlust kill. Rhapsody realizing quickly he's in trouble, actually. Here comes Andromeda. I don't know if Andros is going to be able to get over here unless they get a hook.
I think so.
Oh, there's the hook. The hero blocking, and easy kill, really, in the end. On to Love right there. The pause right after. To add insult to injury.
Salted in, yeah.
Yeah, that's brutal.
I mean, that's just what BMG was looking for. I mean, that shows that Insania knew exactly what he was doing, picking up those Marchers, securing them a kill right from the start. I mean, giving them a big lead. Like, there's no way that the Hellborn team is going to be able to contest this mid lane now. Like, giving them the extra levels as well is going to allow for... I mean, Andromeda has one of the larger or longest stun durations in the game as well, in the early levels. Like, that Comet stun. If he gets that to level 2, I mean, Midas might even be in trouble.
Yeah.
Might not even be able to escape them, especially if Devour gets Marchers. He can just run him down even after he uses his Elemental Warp. So that's a big lead for BMG right now.
See the teams definitely having fun with each other as far as the verbal side goes. You know, really expected that. These two teams know each other pretty well, as really all these teams do. But at the same time, something tells me if, we get to a game 3 and pretty close, that's not going to be happening. So
pretty much.
This is game number 1. We're just getting started here. So a little loose, perhaps early on, or trying to become loose. But yeah, Midas, he is going to be stunned right here. Devo, he's got the hook, but again, with that Elemental Warp, or he doesn't, excuse me, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not nearly enough mana at this point, as we're talking about. So gonna have to wait for that. Andrew just simply keeping the harassment up here onto Midas.
But Insania, like, he rotated over, not... Like, he was visible, though. I mean, they clearly saw him running through the mid lane. He's going to try to... I'm not entirely sure what his plan is here. I don't think that he's going to be able to set up any kills with Dr. Pulsar. He's just placing himself in danger.
Speaking of that danger, you see, unfortunately for Complexity, all they had was a Vulture Lord, not necessarily the greatest for setting up a kill onto a Magnus right there, so in the end he's going to be fine, of course, despite some staccato stuns. But yeah, he is headed down here, as you're talking about, though, if they're really going to be able to set something up on this Tundra.
Yeah. I mean, he got Marchers, so I mean, like, he's not in immediate danger of getting killed, but I don't necessarily think that it's the most... Or maybe it is, because Rhapsody on the field seems to be busy on other parts.
Yeah, they're not here just yet. I mean, Rhapsody's running over. She will get there in time, but did it maybe scare them away in the end. But, yeah, it actually became a little bit closer than maybe expected there.
I think that sitting with Magnus at the top lane, shutting down a Mage Bane might be more beneficial for BMG. Not entirely sure if they're going to be able to accomplish too much down here at the bot lane. As I say that, yeah, as well, they're going to get a kill. So 1-1 in kills now.
Yeah, at that point, Magnus, he did not have enough mana for his stun. Needs the 140, just shy of it, and so it's, again, that's those boots where his boots are great for the speed purpose and of course and everything, but lacking stats as a result of that. Only really has the one lava surge before he has to wait for all that mana to come back. So.
Yeah, the question that you need to ask yourself, not entirely sure. Okay, so the trash talk has already begun because Devour just missed a hook and Fuzzlot already with the question mark. So I mean, I personally love to see it. I mean, these two teams, as you mentioned as well, I mean, they know each other well. So, I mean, it's all in good fun, I hope. But we love to see this, you know, competitive integrity.
Absolutely.
Just a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah. Don't be over the top, but stuff like that, of course, is just fine. Try to put them on a little bit of tilt. And, you know, any traditional sport is the same way, of course. You know, get that trash talking a little bit, you know, whisper in the ear, you know, it's the sweet nothings, and kind of put them on tilt a little bit. So, yeah, it's fun to see that, no doubt. So, Ophelia, yeah, she's been aggressive here, and actually going to box out Doctor even a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure what BMG's plan is right now. I mean, you have to ask yourself, what's your main objective? Like, what's the thing that's going to ultimately make you, like, come into a comfortable position when it comes to the mid game? Balthazar going into the force, I don't think that was planned by any means. And Magnus being down here taking these last hits, I don't necessarily feel like that's going to grant BMG too much either. Like Mage Bane, I mean, if you look at it from complexity side, all they really want in this stage is to get levels on Tundra and Midas until they get level 6 and up. And on Mage Bane, you simply just want as much farm as possible. And right now, they are successfully achieving that. So I think the BMG should instead try to focus a little bit more on shutting down the Mage Bane rather than securing farm for their own carry, which is Dr. Bolzer.
Yeah, it is interesting. You see Mage Bane in his farm right now. 280 gold per minute, 21-1 creep farm. Again, Valkyrie is slightly winning that right now, but especially with Rhapsody being up here.
The hook in the mid, it connects.
Change. Midas is in trouble. Can he get the Elemental Warp? He can, but Magnus being patient. Waits to stun and gets the kill as a result of that. Boxy actually gets credit for it. So, yeah, very good patience on Insanio's part right there. But that starts with the Boxy hook, and seems like we've talked about it so many times before. It has a magnet on it, man. It connects where others wouldn't. It feels like.
Yeah, Boxy is amazing. Like, he's so incredibly skilled. I have no idea how he does it, but somehow he just pulls it off every single time. Lovely Catman champion micro there from what you got as well, slowing down the Magnus, avoiding death. Midas is actually down here as well. I'm not entirely sure if Magnus is aware of this.
Nope.
Doesn't look like it.
I love that bait. He's just like trying to kill this courier right here as it's running away, and then all of a sudden, 4 heroes jump on him, and he's just dead. So, I guess 3 plus the Catman champion, but still, that was, I mean, very good bait. All for a courier right there of Tundra. So, that's well worth it for complexity there. So. Good play by them. Now we tied up at 2 hero kills apiece, but gotta say, I mean, here's this snowball starting to kick in a little bit of Devo. He's about 420 gold per minute. We've seen it several times, even lately here in these playoffs here. As bottom lane, Avalanche going to be used on a Dr. Repulse because they have enough for the turn kill. I don't know if they do. Maybe they do. Yes, they do. Ophelia. Look at her build, by the way. She did get level 2 in the Nature's Wrath, taking advantage of the changes to Ophelia here. This is honestly the first time I think that we've seen this, or that I've seen this at least, here in these playoffs.
Yeah, interesting indeed. What you got, obviously playing this Ophelia to perfection. And now when they got a secure lead here, they have already shut down Dr. Pulsar. They can safely rotate back to their own force as well. And if Ophelia picks up that Mana Ring and Astro, they're safely going to be able to secure their side. I don't think that BMG necessarily is going to be able to shut down this Mage Bane anytime soon. Like, they're going to need a portal key on to Devour before they can actually achieve that.
That goes back to, you know, again, Boxy being 2-0-0, 380 gold per minute, great start. But yeah, gets that portal key, sure. It does feel like, though, we have seen this, and I don't have, like, numbers in front of me by any means, but it feels like, again, this is how Devo works, too. He is a snowball-y hero, of course. You know, he can get an early start, but he will taper off. I mean, the hook is always going to be useful in a sense, but obviously his solo kill potential definitely tapers off, and that, you know, as a result, he does. So, my point is, we've seen Boxy do very well like this before, and it not necessarily work out in the end for BMG. So not to get overhyped if you are BMG here, especially with that Mage Bane doing very well himself now, as he's really recovered quite a bit, 210 gold per minute. So is it really a case you think Devo gets that portal keys you're talking about, maybe heads towards top to take care of that Mage Bane? Are they going to have to wait for that, really?
Yeah, they have. I know they're actually initiating up on the top lane. What you got is going to block the arrow with the creep.
That Minotaur. I guess the Vagabond leader, even the savior of the day. And Magnus may actually escape, though.
I'm not sure if they're going for this.
No, the stomp just out of range. It's going to be fine, so. But at least they saved their own teammate there. Prevent a kill from happening.
Yeah, they did a hook just missing as well in the mid lane, attempted on the Midas. Yeah, I think they have to wait for Devour to really get his pull key. I mean, landing those hooks, as great of a player as Boxy is, and as amazing as his hooks is, like, there's just no way. I mean, against an experienced player like Complexity Gaming, who are going to be aware of these hooks coming from left and right, there's simply not going to be, like, without help at least, without a Magnus or Andromeda actually setting up those stuns, like, it's going to be incredibly hard for him to land those solo kills. So I think they need to wait for the pull key at least onto him before they can really start making a change.
I do apologize, by the way. I did have the image wrong there. They were just refreshed it. Okay, the teams were on the wrong sides there, but now they're on the appropriate sides. Yeah, Complexity, of course.
Oh, Tundra picking up a haste rune. BMG is noticing it though, so they are going to have vision on him running in there. They could potentially even bait it, but it seems like they're just going to fall back for the moment.
Yeah.
But they got such a great vision against Devourer as well, even if he were to get a pull key. I mean, now when Tundra is starting to lever up this Shiver ability, like, he's just going to get so much true vision. He's just going to have control over the map constantly. Not to talk about the Ophelias, not only his heal, but his minions as well, that can successfully block the hooks. So, like, Boxy by no means have an easy task here in front of him.
Here's this early movement that we talked about from BMG as expected. Magnus going pretty deep right here. The arrow, oh, nice dodge by what you got at the last second.
How did he even see that?
Yeah.
That was so well played.
That was just very, very last second right there. Diva, okay, he was just eating the courier actually, so I was curious what that was about.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was intended or not, but
wow.
Here he goes.
Yeah, he hooks in Tundra. Tundra kind of running in dark right there. That kind of questionable plays on both sides, really. Oscar, I mean, his courier just got eaten by Devour, yet he still kind of was going blindly uphill, and he paid for it. So ends up being the kill on a Tundra, despite the funky start there.
Boxer was just baiting. He was like, I used my ultimate, now it's your turn to go on us, and well, it backfired. No, but questionable by Tundra running in there blind. I'm not entirely sure what he was thinking. Magebane wasn't even close by, so not necessarily a team fight that they were looking for right there.
Yeah.
Midas is going to smoke up for the bot lane, by the way. He's probably going to go for a kill onto Dr. Pulsar. He is going to find him, but don't think that he's going to be able to secure this kill on his own. And it's quite difficult as well for him to actually land his combo, not to talk for the Tundra. Like, his Avalanche got a small cast delay. They are going to find him now, though, so this might be the kill. Is it going to be in range?
That should be a kill, yeah. The lockdown on that Avalanche, man, I know we've started to see Tundra more and more, especially in the hands of Oscar, but you really have to... 3 seconds. That's a long duration right there. All the way up to 4 seconds at level 3. So, yeah, that's a lot of potential for damage to come out, especially with the assistance there. Really no chance for Doctor to get away with that lockdown. So, excellent
Magnus up at the top lane, by the way. They're going to jump in, but this is going to backfire. There is Portas coming in, though.
Well, you got Valkyrie up here. You see Ophelia running over now. So, Rhapsody taking some good damage. Magnus insisting on going. Oh, but, you know, I think he had mana for a stun, but then the mana burn actually changed that, and now Insania's in trouble. The hook attempt, trying to make a play right there to this Boxy, but it goes right on through, and thus Magnus dies. And so now you see Complexity going for some more turn, but not going to necessarily get it, as there's just too many there now. But look at the lead now, starting to build up a little bit for Complexity. A 3,200 gold lead, 3,100 experience lead. It's actually looking pretty good, and especially for a team that's all about this early start and getting a lot of aggression. That's Valkyrie in the leap, but she still gets hit. It will be enough to get away, though. So, but yeah, it's got to be looking a little scary all of a sudden for BMG now.
Yeah, they're desperate, as we can see. I mean, both Dr. Pulsar and Devour porting up to the top lane without getting anything in return. That's a big hit. Not the one that they were looking for. I mean, they need kills, and Boxy actually going to find Midas.
All right, well, there's the kill. You say they need kills, and they get a kill. So, if only it was that easy all the time.
Magnus is here once more.
Uh-oh.
Huh?
Minotaur, yeah, that was going to be a little bit late right there. Steam
almost feel like Magnus or Insane in this case. He's a little bit too aggressive, just a little bit.
He only has Striders. Yeah, he is playing this very, like, I have a portal key, you know. I'm even tankier than I really am, because, yeah, he has Striders. I mean, no stats right now. He is very squishy, so.
Yeah. I mean, Complexity Gaming, they do have a late game, I would assume, seeing as they got that Magebane with relatively good farm. But it's not by any means like, throughout the mid game, I still think that BMG got a relatively good shot. So I think that if they just farm up the portal keys, I mean, play it a little bit more safer, farm up portal keys on Magnus and Devour, they're still in really good spots. I don't think they necessarily need before people up here just preventing the farm on Magebane.
You see Ophelia again, nice little sidestep right there. He's what you got really is on top of it as far as avoiding these hooks of Boxy. And on top of that, he's also 3-0-1 on his Ophelia.
Oh, mid lane, another one.
There you go. Midas picked off. That was the hook, or that wasn't even a hook.
I don't know.
No?
Yeah, he doesn't even have it on cooldown.
Yeah.
I have no idea how he landed that one.
I guess probably Doctor just got him with the ulti.
No, Doctor jumped in after. I have no idea how that happened.
Okay.
Yeah, Doctor Repulsor jumped in after he already had him in the VAR. So questionable, but Boxy making it work even without the Polki. Really being the saving grace here for this Legion team. Oh, they might find Rhapsody.
God, they are just so deep, man, constantly. Magnus is going to start falling back here as that TP does come in and even stuns away just to be sure to survive right here. Intro, be a little careful. Skeleton King, no. Not gonna
the thing is that they can even, I mean, they can use that hook defensively as well to hook out teammates in trouble. So Boxy was definitely looking for it there in case of Andromeda being caught.
Yeah.
But BMG, yeah, they're keeping up the pressure, constantly making sure that Formless doesn't necessarily increase his gold per minute is a really good sign. And that's what we're saying, like, as long as they keep up like in farm throughout the mid game, I think that Legion team might even be favorable, seeing as they got that Polki on Magnus in that case. But Insane is still a long way off that one.
Yeah, that's going to be a ways. He has a mana battery now that I even purchased, but yeah, and that's the thing with the Magnus. You know, Behemoth can get away with it, but Magnus having no stats and getting straight portal keyed is a little underwhelming, because the idea of doing everything with your ulti, the stun, and your portal key, I don't even think you could combo without any stat items at this point. So definitely needs quite a bit of farm before he's going to be, you know, that threat at least. Of the
complexity gaming, all boxed out in their own forest right now. We can see the wards as well, kind of surrounding them, really defensive ones. Just making sure the Ward of Revelations are down in every single key point as well, just to prevent from that Valkyrie Prism. Actually going to hit 5-second arrow up at the top.
That actually hit. Oh my gosh, the heal comes out. He's still alive. Oh wow, he's going to be able to blink away actually. He survived throughout quite a bit right there. There's a swap onto Valkyrie. Meanwhile, they do know Magnus is up here as well, but Andrew's going to be picked off. At least it seems like it, unless Diva has to say about that. In flies Dr. Repulsor. Andrew's still alive, actually, and she'll stay alive in the background. What a turn here from BMG at the end of it. Mage being forced to blink away, and it's right now a 2-for-0 exchange, 3-for-0 as Ophelia goes down, and the chase is still on. Diva lands the hook. Midas gets caught, and a quad kill for the team of BMG. 4-for-0. What a turn in BMG's favor.
That's what we're talking about. That's BMG showing off. And opposed us again, like, honestly though, don't like bring this one too far. But seriously, BMG just showing complexity that they are the ones who want to advance. They're making a stand right there. Like, Boxy with those hooks are just simply amazing. Like,
yeah.
I don't get how he does it. Every single time. And now Mac as well with that 5-second arrow was so well played. I mean, he curved his way into the forest, was hiding in the shadows, landing an arrow from an impossible angle onto Magepen, just securing that kill as well. Even with Ophelia's touch, even with the Rhapsody being there. Unfortunately, Rhapsody not being level 6, so he didn't have the Protected Melody available, but still, like, what a teamfight from BMG.
Man, I mean, that was ridiculous. I got the replay on right now, just rewatching that whole fight right there. It's so many things absolutely absurd about how it played out, but it did. I mean, and BMG all of a sudden now, that was the fight that they really were needing, that they really needed to definitely kind of start getting control of this game once again. And again, you do look at Boxy, 4-0-5 right now. He has 413 gold per minute. He is snowballing on this Devo. 8 charges on that Cadaver Armor. I love this hero because he has 1,575 life. And all he has is Steam Boots to help with that. So, yeah, quite tanky on top of everything else. But Dr. Repulsor, you know, he's recovering, it's safe to say, for Baltasar. Still needs some time to be a threat. But then you got Valkyrie as well. Yeah, she brings that physical carry presence herself. And the idea of that semi-carry to go with the Dr. Repulsor. But I will say, Magebane staying alive, of course, definitely key for complexity. Even addressed there in that fight. At least he keeps on track for that Rune Cleaver here at this time. But no doubt, a very successful fight for BMG there.
Oh yeah, now they're in a lead here. in this game. Like Hellborn team so like dependent on Ophelia getting farm as well. Like they need a few towers, not necessarily too many towers, but they still need to keep Ophelia fed up with those creeps. And now with Oscar having his Polki as well with the Tundra, I would love for him and Fossilslot just to kind of take a trip down to the Legion Forest once more, as it did in the start with the smoke, trying to find a kill onto Dr. Pulsar, because it's important that they don't get too defensive. Like BMG has been playing so incredibly aggressive that Complexity is just like they see something around every corner. Like they're just terrified for BMG being in the forest every single time. That prevents them from taking farm on the lanes.
Yeah. So 16 minutes into this game right now. Man, it's only 16 minutes. Holy crap. It does feel like it's already been so much longer, but no, only 16 minutes into this game. So, yeah, nothing too crazy just yet as far as the time goes. But, hey, you see the portal keys coming out, though. You see some core items initially happening, including the Astrolabe, obviously, on Ophelia, strong item. I wonder what route Maka is going to go here. I know the Nullfire Blade tends to be fairly popular on such a hero, but do you think
looks like the Firebrand so far.
The Firebrand in the end? Okay.
Not entirely sure. I mean, it could change, but it seems like the Firebrand. I mean, I know Maki just loves to go for the raw physical damage builds. Like, he definitely, like, he never goes any defensive items. He just goes to raw physical damage, and Magnus is going to find yet another kill. We're not entirely sure how to get into the Complexity Forest this easily.
Yeah.
Like, there are no wards to prevent it.
Yeah, Ophelia goes down. I mean, there's a rough wood right here, but other than that, yeah, there's not. And I can't say I've been watching this whole time, but it does feel like you need that vision, man. I mean, they have a Tundra with Shiver, of course, which obviously ideally helps. And not to say he hasn't been using it, but I'm with you. They really control this top portion of the map, and especially with a Tundra, you just would not expect that. From BMG, but that is the case. So Complexity really has their work cut out for them.
Oh, they're going to jump in on Dr. Pulsar, please. Not sure if this is going to be enough.
No, it's not. I mentioned that lockdown earlier. This time it just wasn't enough. If he's level 11, maybe it is, but...
Yeah, good call from BMG as well. Maki immediately porting out from the top lane, just heading down to the bot. And now Insania as well got a juicy creep wave here to farm up for his bulky. He's not that far off anymore. That team fight up at the top lane really helped his farm.
Yeah. Well,
this is looking grim for Complexity. I mean, the only thing that they have going for them right now is that Mage Bane. Like, nobody else is above 250. Actually, Oscar is on 260, but he's a Tundra. He's going to taper off as well. There's only so much that he can do. He can provide vision for his team, but he's not going to be able to provide that raw physical damage when it comes to the team fights later stages of the game. And Mage Bane, he's going to need at least 2 free potential more items before he can truly, like, be having an impact in those team fights.
Yeah.
Now, Dr. Pulsar, he got a Sustainer. Not entirely sure what he's looking for. Is that the Nullstone, you think, just to counter the Mage Bane?
You know, I was actually just having that thought. I was going to bring that up myself, but I'm with you. It feels like that that the Nullstone, yeah, probably makes the most sense. I mean, Mage Bane, you mentioned that from the beginning with the draft itself. That obviously is a pretty decent threat here. Yes, they have several other abilities that can ideally take it off, but... I think to help prevent that it makes sense. So I think the idea of a Nullstone is pretty solid here. And it is, oh, it's not, I was actually about to say it's Complexity, but never mind. It's Balthazar, actually, but still. If I had to choose, yeah, that makes sense to me. What about you?
Come again, sorry. I was looking at box in the mid lane.
The Nullstone for Doc.
Oh yeah, the Nullstone. Yeah, definitely. That's probably going to be the case here. I don't see any other options, at least. I mean, there are too many arguments just going for that Nullstone in this game. I mean, the Tundra Avalanche as well, of course, being a strong ability, just for that case, or a strong ability to counter.
Yeah.
I would assume so. I mean, like, the main thing here, I mean, Boxy, he's just safely having it his way here in the mid lane. Like, he's just constantly up on Complexity side. Like, he's not worried about anything. Like, they would need 3, potentially 4 heroes just to bring him down. And as you can see, I mean, he's just using his ultimate once again to kill off the courier here in the mid lane. So just trying to create map presence. And Midas and Tundra at the right side.
Yeah, now this is interesting because obviously the Veiled Rod over here, they have suspicions that they're over here, but as we see, they're not going to be seen. In fact, out comes a Shiver to spot what's happening from the side of BMG now. So this could potentially be a big play, though. Devo, he's going to find Midas, but he can't get a play off in time. Midas portal keys quickly. And down here, Tundra also going to use that portal key before he gets caught. So nice distraction, really, from Complexity, because in the meantime, Mage Bane pushes that top tower. And obviously having the Rune Cleaver now, he just buys his excuse me, his quick blade there. So he's starting to develop very nicely now. 400 gold per minute here. So.
They're certainly doing a good job at countering the BMG aggression, at least now. I mean, they were a little bit hesitant in the start, not having the perfect vision in the forest, but now they picked up on it at least. Now they definitely recognize the aggression here from BMG to a much higher degree than they did before.
Yeah.
BMG, though, I think that they can afford to take a little bit more of a passive route in this game. I mean, as we were talking about, in Formless Farm isn't necessarily that great. It is slightly above 400 gold per minute, but as long as BMG just gets rid of all the other towers here on the Hellborn side, I think that they can freely just control the map and more or less just push Magepan into their his own base.
Yeah.
So perhaps just focusing a little bit more on the towers as they are doing now, grouping up here. I love this initiative from BMG.
Yeah. Got the pushing towards the secondary, yeah, maybe, but in the in the meantime, they're over near the observatory. But yeah, you do see that shifter coming more and more into play though from Oscar. I mean, so the Tundra pick again on paper and really now in practice, as we've seen several times, is definitely having impact here. I mean, despite this really strong start from BMG or several solid fights, it no doubt is an issue that that's preventing them from getting some kills here. So. Proving, again, to be a very valuable pickup here for the side of Complexity. They got Fuzzy Soft with an Invis rune right now as he's walking around the middle lane here. So, Demo's going to jump in. There we go. Ophelia going to be caught initially. There goes the transmute, though. Stopping the Devo lockdown. Ophelia, the eruption going through. Here's the avalanche. So Dr. Pulse locking him. Not trying to get him killed. In the background, Ophelia does fall. Doctor, yes, he is going to go down. Mage joins the party as well. He still has that. Oh, no, he didn't use the Mana Rift, actually. So Doctor dead. Andromeda's going to fall. Meanwhile, Devo gets picked up in the background. And now the chase continues in favor of Complexity. Valkyrie in trouble. It's pretty much the opposite of how that top fight went. And see, this is where it's bad for BMG, extra bad, because now you have a Magepan that's really starting to take off, and you just lost a big fight there.
Ouch, that one hurts. That really hurts. Like, I'm not entirely sure how that went, or that fight went so well for Complexity Gaming. It felt like BMG had a perfect initiation, hitting the hook on Ophelia, following it up with the Magnus Eruption, but I guess it was just too much focus on the Ophelia, too many offensive abilities used on one hero that allowed Complexity to get back into the game. Or perhaps it was just the reinforcements wasn't there from Valk and Andromeda in the start. Yeah. But somehow Complexity Gaming coming out on top, and that just, once again, I mean, those swings, those team fights have been completely one-sided. First for BMG, and now for Complexity Gaming. So now we're once more back on equal ground there.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted here. My apologies. Okay, we're back here, though. 2,800 gold on Tundra. Holy crap.
Oh, wow. And he's blinking into a very aggressive or in a very situation or spot there. I mean, he doesn't even have mana for his port out, but it seems like he's going to be fine. Bound I picked up on Fusen as well, by the way. I'm so not used to seeing Fusen on teal. That's why I'm just, every single time, I'm just reacting when I see Fusen's name over the teal color.
Yeah. That is true. That is really interesting. Yeah, seeing that. Yeah, because you're just so used to seeing that.
Oh, did you see that Word of Revelation as well? Finally paying off.
Wow.
For the Hellborn team.
Yep. So not much of a secret here. Easily going to be spotted, and in the end, not going to be able to make a play out of it. But they are going to push the tower. So BMG, this is interesting. I mean, I guess what else do? They can't really play the farm game, so they kind of just have to keep the pressure on, right? So Devo's going to try to keep that pressure on as he jumps on a Tundra in the background. The Magnus follow up. Tundra is dropping. The arrow hits, and down goes Tundra. But is it going to be the best in the case in the end for this Legion team? Magepan, he's actually at half-life here, but he's holding his ground, and in comes the Astrolabe, and actually you see PMG realizing this is not a fight they're going to win. The Mana Rift drops Dr. Repulsor. The double tap right there. Eruption coming out, but the Rhapsody Protective Melody preventing a good amount of that damage. It's going to be a genocide, it looks like. Nope, never mind. Magnus does get away at the last second. But another 4-for-1 exchange in favor of Complexity. And with the way PMG's playing this, too, it feels like, I don't know if they're going to have too many more chances here.
No, not necessarily. Like, Complexity Gaming played that fight beautifully. Like, the coordination was just spot on. There's not a single thing that I would actually complain on in that fight when it comes to the side of Complexity. I do, however, think that BMG is just playing a little bit too greedy, because we are talking about, like, how Complexity have the late game. There still comes at times when Magepan, you know, he's going to get 6-slotted, and there are not too many heroes on the Hellborn side to actually follow up on that late game presence. Like, Tundra and Midas can only do so much as well with their magic damage. So having, like, Sheepstick, Hellflower on Dr. Repulsor, following it up with Sheepstick, and that raw physical damage from Valk, I feel like Legion team can definitely contest when it comes to the late games. I don't think like they need to dive behind secondary towers at least. I mean, it's good that they're pushing complexity back onto their side of the map. Like, you just have them sit in their base and fear the hooks and the constant invisibilities, ultimates coming out from Valk, but just don't necessarily approach those team fights in that kind of way.
Look at this Tundra. It's really something to see, again, just how this game has completely shifted in favor of complexity, because, you know, we're talking about so much early on, and I guess BMG still kind of do it, controlling the help war in jungle, but on the other side of the spectrum, you got complexity taking over the Legion jungle now. I mean, MageBane's freely down here with that token now, has the Shrunken, the Firebrand. You got Tundra here, working towards a Sheepstick. In fact, does he actually have it? Oh, okay, Puzzle Box, never mind. I was going to say, something was being delivered, but yeah, the Puzzle Box is coming out for Tundra, and now he has a level 1 of that here. So, again, they are going up against a Nullifier Blade, but still.
Oh, is Complexity actually taking the initiative this time?
Oh my gosh, they are. And, well, that worked out beautifully there as they find Andromeda, and the rest are going to run. So, yeah, and when you know Complexity is starting to become the aggressors, again, more trouble for BMG here as far as the news goes. So, I mean, it's a very good effort by BMG early on, and it seemed like, especially after that top fight, you know, the 4-0 cleanup, they definitely had something going. But I think the biggest things, honestly, were Baltazar could never really get going on Doctor. He just got his Nullstone. Now 27 minutes into the game.
I mean, this game has literally been all about boxy, just landing those hooks. Baltazar, yeah, as you're talking about, like, he doesn't necessarily get the farm. I think that was okay, though. Like, I think that's something that BMG should have been fine with, but however, putting Magnus down in the bot lane, dual-laning him with Dr. Pulsar in the early stages of the game, rather than keeping MageBane shut down, I think that was like the major mistake, at least throughout the laning phase.
Yeah.
Because they could have certainly just locked down Midas and MageBane completely, just preventing them from getting any farm at all. Instead, MageBane got full experience and like 250 gold per minute throughout the laning phase. And now being Complexity, I mean, they are so used to this late game presence, and now when Tundra is rolling as well, they are going to find Magnus.
Yeah, that's going to be a free kill. Maybe Staccatos. Okay, maybe not. Angel's like, nope, not going to be a free kill, but will be a free kill on her at the end. As Doctor pulls right to the side, they're going to find Devo, actually. Looks like he was maybe trying to make a play first, but didn't matter. Rhapsody protected Melody just in case. That wasn't really the best one right there. But, again, it's when you're starting to pull ahead like this, you can afford some maybe mistakes like that. And Complexity, it really has been all of them these last 5-6 minutes here. And again, the idea of that changing is very unlikely, because especially when you have this MageBane, it's just getting completely out of hand here at this point. But I mean, understandably, not saying BMG should be giving in, because they definitely shouldn't, but definitely a tough task ahead of them. Really are relying on this Valkyrie to be very effective. I mean,
he's going to be jumped to the top lane.
And
so
as I'm saying this,
yeah.
This
That's
is
a curse.
Is he going to be stopped? No, he's not actually. So
well played by Mackie.
Good decision on his part, and he does escape, but he has 2,600 gold saved up. Again, he went to Nullifier first. Is there an item where it's like, oh, he obviously needs to get this to have a chance here?
No, I think it's very situational in this game. I mean, they're definitely going to need damage output in some kind of way, and I think that the only way to win this game is just to go all out in raw physical damage for Valk. I don't really feel like BMG got a luxury to sit back and play with defensive items, especially now with Dr. Pulsar going for that Nullstone first item.
Yeah.
They just need something to shut down the MageBane. I mean, as long as the token is up, what's happening up at the top lane? Mackie, trouble.
Yeah, this time he is going to get caught, and really by nearly everyone. Obviously, you do see Rhapsody not there, but of course doesn't matter, and the kill successful on Valkyrie. So again, slowing her down a little bit. This top tower now going to be pushed in. The token, it's not like they haven't been trying to use it. He's been pretty aggressive with it. It just happens to have not died with it. They are going to definitely use it here as 50 seconds remain, and they're pushing into the base
Legion
now.
Team, yeah, they're not in position whatsoever. They're going to be forced to use a premature defensive fortification right there. That's not what you want in these kind of situations. I mean, they saw Complexity coming from miles away, so they should have really been in position for that.
Well, they do pour it back, at least most of them. And obviously, Devour is the one that did not. He stays away, realizing that they were not fully 100% committing to it in the end. But he's going to go middle. He's be careful.
I mean, he got a shrunken head, so perhaps he's overestimating himself just a little bit here.
Yeah.
He's going to blink away. He got it under control. It's boxing.
He's fine. Level 16 now with those squeaky boots of his. He does have the double damage bottled up. Nice little addition there. But, oh, Andro. At that point of the game now where she's just simply trying to get some vision down for BMG, but unfortunately falling victim to what has now been the aggressive style of complexity here.
Oh, here's the Invis, by the way. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to bring down this Ophelia. I feel like this is almost the... Yeah, this is just desperation coming up from BMG right now.
Yeah, continues to be the case. Yeah, look at Ophelia, by the way. The Soul's Bulwark now even picked up. You go with that Abyssal Skull. She's really tanky, man, especially when it comes to physical damage.
They have the eruption if they want to turn this one around. I'm not entirely sure how insane he's feeling about this. No, it seems like BMG is going to make the call not to go for this. The leap, 1 second more for about...
Oh, he gets a Major Blink swap, everything. No. He's going to survive. Wow. Oh, jeez. I mean, Mageman had a mana rift. I'm a little surprised he chose not to use it. I mean, I know it would have been a lot of it. I think it might have been enough for the kill, though. So, but he doesn't use it.
It felt like he had it or the kill already. Valkyrie already used his leap, but I guess perhaps Formless just underestimated the low cooldown that's provided in level 4. How much is it? It's 20 seconds actually, so it's not that low. But yeah, Mac using 2 leaps at least in that chase.
Oh, he survives and again keeps giving BMG at least a slight chance right here. We're going to find who's this Tundra down here. He's had the level 3 puzzle box out. There's a shrunken of Devo. It's going to be stopped pretty early, though. Does land the hook. Protective Melody. Just enough to save Tundra. And look at Devo now falling. He's like, damn you, Rhapsody. I want to kill you. It's not going to happen, though. Rhapsody actually stays alive through it all.
What a lifesaver. Rhapsody just picking up the portal key, just jumping straight in, saving his teammate, and Oscar immediately making the right decision, just manning up, knowing for a fact that he can bring Devour down during the duration of that Protective Melody. So Complexity Gaming, yeah, they're simply too far ahead at this point, I think, for BMG to actually make a comeback. They have been playing this really damn well. The only thing that we can complain about really is the fact that they didn't have enough vision in the start of the game, allowing BMG to enter the force a little bit too easily. But ever since then, it's been flawless performance from them. Definitely showing here that they are ready. They want to advance through this loser bracket.
God, it feels weird because, and I don't even know if I'm right at saying this because I don't have the stats in front of me, but it does feel like the last several times we've seen BMG draft Boxy Devo, as fun and entertaining it is, as great of a hero it's to watch, and especially with him playing it, and he always gets a good start personally, it seems like. The team doesn't win in the end. I mean, and I'm not saying this is Devo's fault by any means, but, I mean, if you give Boxy more of a hero that will have that scalability as the game picks up, you know, maybe there is something to that as well, rather than a hero that does die off, you know, by the mid to late game stage here. So again, I maybe that's just one thing of many, sure, but many issues perhaps.
I hear what you're saying. I mean, Devour is certainly one of those heroes, but I do think that Boxy has been like the golden star here, and like, oh, the hook almost. He's gonna be stuck now instead though.
And stuck on the cliff.
Yeah, Complexity. I don't think they have vision. Now they're placing the word of sight. He's still in this, but he's going to. Oh my God!
He's like, I'm out of here. Now they see him, but they're not going to get there in time.
1 second cooldown ability for fast shots. But no, but like Boxy, I mean, I think that BMG was right in picking Devour. It's just been...
Miss Desperation again, just really trying to get any kind of play, but again, Love on top of the Protective Melody. Does get stopped, but prevented some good initial damage right there.
Farm on Dr. Pulsar, like if Boxy was doing as well as he did, and like they just shut down the Mage Bane, I think that it would have been a field day for Boxy.
Yeah.
But it's also tough. I'm not entirely sure when they picked it in the drafting phase, so perhaps you can argue against like off the Tundra. Might not be the best idea to pick up Devourer. That's so reliable on
it was fourth pick, and it was after Tundra, I believe. Yeah.
Right. So I guess you got a point in that then.
Oh, meanwhile the hook on a Mage Bane, but he's like, all right, pop the Shrunken, start turning now. Again, it's good luck dealing with this Mage Bane here. The Frost of Skull, another 2,800 gold saved up. There goes the melee racks. See Magnus, Desperation again, just really trying to get any kind of play, but again, Love on top of the Protective Melody. Does get stopped, but prevented some good initial damage right there. So I think this is going to be the time where BMG realizes enough is enough. Dr. Buyback, they're trying everything. Kill this Mage Bane, they say. That's all they want. It's not going to be enough anyways. As Devo falls in the background, Mage Bane blinks out in time. And will survive. I mean, he could go back in here. It seems like he's got a mana rift, actually. He gets stunned, though, and he dies. He got a little too greedy there. But Doctor does fall. Magnus goes down. All of a sudden, Valkyrie by herself. But she did get another kill, so a little bit of a hold in the end by BMG, I guess, as it was one buyback on Balthazar. And actually gets a kill. Hat-trick. It's going to be a quad kill. What? Maka gets a quad kill to finish it. Okay. I guess it's not over.
It's not. I mean, you could argue that. Like, there is a 25k goal lead, and their third degree tower falls as well to in favor of the Hellborn team. I mean, they got what they wanted. They stayed a little bit too long, but there was a lot of buybacks. Or actually, when I say that, I can say that there's only been one from Dr. Pulsar used this game. A little bit surprisingly, almost, that BMG doesn't say for more buybacks. But yeah, Complexity Gaming, they got what they wanted. And look at their inventories. Like, every single one of them, apart from Rhapsody, got over 3k gold.
Yeah. Oh,
so
wow.
that's scary news. I don't think that... What's Valkyrie going for? He's going for the Doombringer, actually. All in, baby.
Why not? Why not, right? I mean, this is definitely a game that screams that, so I think it's a fantastic pickup, really. So of course, as a spectator, you'd always love to see Doombringer, but no, I mean, it definitely makes sense, right? It's like they need something that's going to dramatically change this game for what is a crazy hole that they're in. So let's just go the all-in item of a Doombringer. And see what happens, I guess. So, hey, you never know if he's able to kind of be in the background like the last fight and get those auto attacks in and Doombringer that much harder hitting, that is, so.
Insane got level 17 now as well, so if he can actually land a level 3 ultimate or a level 3 eruption on the entire or on the entire Complexity Gaming squad, then potentially they could get back. But now Congar is in play once more, and I don't think that BMG should try to contest this, or are they? Maybe they're making it the last standard.
Valkyrie Prism, there we go. Andromeda picked up by the puzzle box and Tundra in the background. Meanwhile, Rhapsody goes down, so let's say support.
Yeah, but now they put themselves in a very risky position here. Complexity Gaming is all around them.
Well, Eruption, but the Mage Bane does have a shotgun hit. He's on Valkyrie. Valkyrie leaves at the last second, though. The Eruption not doing a whole lot, unfortunately. Oh, I guess it did kill Tundra, actually. Helped kill him, but Devo gets turned. And now Dr. Transmute. He's not getting away from this, so he will probably fall. Plays down the dirt. Yeah, he's going to go down. So Valkyrie did survive, though. She leapt away just in time there to get away. So, but they're going to start pushing this in, and she does not still have the Doombringer.
Yeah, I don't think that would make too much of a difference here. Insane is sitting on 3k gold as well. Not entirely sure what kind of item would actually make a difference here at this point. Buy a Doombringer himself, drop it, die to the creeps. Oh wow, he's gonna jump in. That's Sheepstick? What the hell?
Valk has a Doombringer, by the way. Yeah, there was a Sheepstick, but he sold a bunch to get it right here. Figures again, 100% all in. Look at Mage Bane though. He's not even really feeling too much of it. I mean, it's only a Steam Boots Doombringer no fire blade, so it's not like he's.
Unfortunately, you need a lot of auto attack damage as well for this to actually be successful.
And there we go. So now I think you could say the game's over.
Yeah, it's probably been for a little bit. It's just BMG trying, like, you shouldn't concede under any circumstances when it's a game of this kind of magnitude, so understandable. But I love the way how Complexity played with their items as well, or the items that they picked up. I mean, Ophelia, for example, going for the Abyssal Skull, like, everything was just all around built around that Mage Bane. So Storm Spirits on Rhapsody and Midas prioritized as well. So as soon as they got their core items, it was just nothing stopping them. They just played flawlessly, simply said.
Yeah, I mean, just the end game, the post-match recap, you look at the inventories of both teams, and it is absurd how much better it is for Complexity across the board. I mean, I know Maki did his whole selling everything about a Doombringer at the end, but even with that, I mean, yeah, it's a clear picture if it wasn't apparent enough on how Complexity really was just so far ahead at that point and got dominant there. So, well, I mean, again, not necessarily. I guess you could argue a little bit of drafting, maybe, but not really. Really, just the game. It sounded like the laning phase was the biggest thing for you.
Yeah, it felt that way at least. You know, focusing more. I mean, seeing that all aggression coming out, all those stuns coming out from BMG, I expected them to put or shut down the Mage Bane a little bit more successfully than they really did. They should have just let Dr. Pulsar suffer down at the bot lane, I think. Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
that's all I can really think about. I don't think the draft necessarily was the fault. It was just the way that they executed it afterwards. They kept up the aggression, but almost a little bit too much at certain points where they dived secondary towers. I mean, they had a great late game kind of composition as well. So I think they could have taken Complexity Gaming on in the later stages of the game. But unfortunately, Complexity Gaming being the better team here in game number 1 at least. Now the question is for BMG, like, do you continue with this aggression or do you rotate back to something a little bit more defensive? Because during the last Hunter Season 3 at least, when BMG, you know, won the World Tours and all, it was something similar, you know, they had a lot of aggression still, but it was kind of like a little bit more of a defensive secondary support hero for who was it? Root of Sea playing them with the Behemoth, the Riftwalker, you know, always the counter initiation. And then Balthasar usually sat on heroes hard carries, like the Silhouette, for example. That's the most remarkable one, or the most noticeable one that really comes to mind when you think about Balthasar. So I would personally almost like BMG to, you know, just rotate to a little bit more of a defensive state, just so they don't necessarily have to feel that, you know, that pressure on them all the time on their shoulders, that they constantly need to find kills. Because especially versus a team like Complexity that's so used to taking things into the late game, it is incredibly hard to find those spots where they are actually vulnerable.
Yeah. No, yeah, so that is going to be interesting to see if BMG